Hello. So, hi everyone. I think we are going to start. Welcome to Microcks community meeting number 33. And as usual, I would say we have issues regarding the Zoom connection with the live streaming. So, this community meeting will be recorded and streamed. It will be streamed, but I think tomorrow or by the beginning of next week when we will have retrieved the recording. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna be joined in a few minutes. I don't know. So let maybe start with some news on the project. Um, One thing that we are currently tackling is the release of the version 1.13. 1.14 has already some candidate release. We delivered candidate release 1 and 2 3 weeks ago. And at the moment, I'm just waiting for one latest PR to be merged. Let me show you this. So let me just share my screen. I'm not even sure I can share my screen because actually there is no host. Oh no, share my screen. Yes, I can. Okay. Uh, Let me share my screen. Okay. So at the moment, we are waiting for one PR to be merged before releasing the 1.13, and this last one about the reply implementation on async API for Kafka protocol. So this is an experimental feature. This is a work that has been done by Adam, and this is the latest, the last PR of series of different PRs. So everything basically has been implemented. It's just the last one that tied everything together. And we had some already some reviews, and we are just waiting for Adam to restore one latest behavior about dynamic topics, and then we will be able to finally deliver this 1.13. So yes, let's keep it tuned, let's say, because it will probably arrive tomorrow or by the beginning of next week. I think it's the only latest pending issues for 1.13. Maybe this one, but yes, I think yes, this one can be closed. And here everything will be normally yes, closed with this PR merge. So that's cool. And 1.13 was actually a big one. There is tons of different different new features here, mainly about OpenAPI callbacks, OpenAPI webhooks, async API request reply, all these stuffs. So yeah, definitely a lot of new stuff to check in the next 1.30. Okay, don't know if anyone is joining. One thing also that I would like to take some minutes to talk about this week is this issue, the 2048, is the issue that tries to define the scope of the next release we are going to work on, that is the 1.15. And so I just initialized this issue this morning, and I really like to get some feedback, some comments and some new ideas on this. Because yeah, it's a bit tight at the moment, but I started to list the different features I had in mind regarding what we can do next in the 1.15. So I categorize things in three different categories. The first one is about the feature updates. And basically, I think that what Adam has done on the async API request reply stuff should be now generalized to other protocols. So for the moment, we implemented all the foundation, but only get a full implementation working on for the Kafka protocol binding. But you may know that we have up to 8 different protocol bindings for async API, and so we will probably have to generalize this feature to WebSocket, to MQTT, to RabbitMQ, to all the others. So it should be really easy because obviously we are reusing a lot of already existing stuff in Microcks. So if you're interested in a specific protocol, please raise your hand. We will be able to provide guidelines. There will be the Kafka examples that you may be able to look at to get inspiration from and to apply the same stuff from your favorite protocol, I would say. So definitely something I would like to generalize in the 1.15 and yes, so that it could be generally available and not tagged as experimental as it will be in a 1.40. Another big feature update, but I have to be honest, this will be a tentative, and I'm not yet really sure if it's worth the pain, I would say. It's about the support of the data contracts specification within Microcks. So for those of you who are not aware what is data contract, it's another specification, like a sister specification of OpenAPI and Async API, but it is fully dedicated to file transfer protocol, like you can do using AWS S3, like you can do using Google Cloud Storage, using object storage, this kind of stuff. So data contracts allows you, I would say, in a very analogous way to OpenAPI and Async API, it allows you to define your records structure, the different attributes, the way the records are actually written on the file. Are they written using CSV, using fixed width, using a binary format like Avro, Protobuf, or Parquet, this kind of stuff? And data contracts also allows you to define, I would say, the different operation, the different channels, whether as a consumer or as an implementer of the data contracts, you will be able to write file, read files, where the files will be provided on on which bucket, on which destination, this kind of stuff. So very, yeah, very similar to what OpenAPI and Async API are doing. And so I would say ideally it would make sense definitely that Microcks also support this kind of integration because you know that there is three big kinds of integrations, synchronous with APIs, asynchronous with event-driven unit events, but also batched events. And this is where data contracts enter the game. So at the end, it would make definitely sense that that Microcks would be able to also support data contracts. Why would I consider this as a tentative is that for the moment we don't have yet big feedbacks from the community, so I'm not yet able to say if data contract is still a niche or if it's widely adopted by different users, by in different architectures, in different companies, different enterprises. So really, if you have experience using data contracts or open data contracts, please raise your hand, give us feedback, tell us if it's high priority, medium priority, low priority for you. Please give us feedback on on your maturity level regarding the specs, regarding the different binding implementation. Are you using it for regular files over, I don't know, SFTP, this kind of stuff, or are you using it only for Avro file on top of S3? We really like to learn more about the different use cases and what is the sweet spot, I would say, for data contracts. Will really help us to prioritize this feature, but also to yeah to decide where to put the emphasis, where to put the efforts regarding the different formats and the different protocols we have to support. So yeah, give us informations on on data contracts, please. Okay, and so as of today, that is for the big features I have in head for in my mind for the 1.15. So feel free also to yes, to consider this as your wish list and to put any other things you'd like to see enter the game in Microcks. For the technical updates, I have a bunch of ideas here because there is obviously some new stuff in the latest versions of framework that we can get benefits from. So obviously, we'd like to have a Java version update here with this version, moving from Java 21 to Java 25, because you know that Java 25 has now full support for virtual threads without pinning the carrier threads under the hood. So it's a very nice improvement regarding performance and scalability when using virtual threads. And Java 25 also has the support for the compact object headers. So depending on your application, it can benefit from yeah, figures around 10 to 20% less memory consumption because the headers of the different objects are reduced by, if I remember correctly, it's 4 bytes, but 4 bytes times thousands of objects, it can really worth the pain. Yeah, so Java 25 could bring nice performance improvement as well on Microcks. We will also have a Spring Boot 4 upgrade because at the moment we are still on Spring Boot 3.5, if I remember correctly. Okay. And we also have the Quarkus update because at the moment we should be on something like Quarkus 24. And yes, the Quarkus team is moving really, really fast. And Quarkus 3.33 is the latest LTS, the long-term support version. So it's nice to have this version as the target for the next Micros release. One thing to notice though is that by embracing Spring Boot 4, we will not be able to move to the new major version of Jackson. Maybe you are aware that Jackson is the underlying JSON and YAML parsing library we are using extensively in Microcks to be able to parse all the spec files to validate all the messages and all the incoming request and response, but also to serialize our own API request and response. And Jackson has recently moved from version 2 to version 3. Spring Boot 4 is using Jackson 3, but Quarkus 3.33 will still be on Jackson 2, so we will have to stick on Jackson 2.x until we move to Quarkus 4, but Quarkus 4 should only be delivered by the end of this year, so in let's something like 6 or 9 months. So let's stick with Jackson 2.6 for the moment. We can also target an upgrade on Keyclock 26. 26.6 is the latest update, if I remember correctly. So it's always nice to have an up-to-date Keyclock version because obviously as it is a security-related component, people are chasing a lot of CVs on Keyclock, and there is some CVs that can be fixed. And we may also have for the UI space an upgrade on the Angular library we are using for the UI frontend of Microcks. So here, at the moment, we are on Angular 19.2, if I remember correctly, and the 21 is the latest version, and I think we should be able to upgrade without too much rework because yes, we are moving fast, but they are not breaking things. So the transition from 19 to 20 seems to be smooth, and from 20 to 21 seems to be smooth as well. So it shouldn't be that complicated to move to Angular 21. Okay, and a big thing I think I had in mind for the Microcks 1.15 are some internal reworks. And we have big reworks in front of us, and this is where I think we are going to spend most of the time for the next release. The first one I put it here is regarding the key clock, what I've called the key clock substitution. I don't want to call it the key clock replacement because for me, key clock is still a core component of the infrastructure, but as the popularity of Microcks is growing a lot, we meet more and more people who'd like to adopt Microcks, but who consider Keyclock, I would say, as an heavyweight component and as a burden to deploy. So most of the time, I think this is because those people have a very, let's say, bad feelings or bad memories about very old version of Keyclock that was very heavyweight to deploy, that was cumbersome to configure, and so on and so forth. So for some people, looking at the new Keyclock release, the name that is called Keyclock X, looks like yeah, some fresh air, and they are able to change their mind and okay, say Keyclock is not that heavyweight to deploy and it's easy to do so. So they can still use Keyclock as a bridge to their existing authorization server as a bridge, or yes, as an equivalent. But for more and more people, it is yeah, it looks like a no-go, and it prevents them from deploying Microcks as a centralized instance that could be always up and running and that could be secure, that can be configured to manage the multi-tenancy, or at least segregation of responsibility for different domains, different mocks that would belong to different domains. So I think it's time to look at how we can move or how people could more easily replace Keycloak with another external existing OIDC compliant authorizations. So for that, I think one of the tasks we had to do is uh, have a review on how we are dealing with group management at the moment, because this is the only feature that is totally delegated to Keycloak. So this is something we may want to migrate from Keycloak to the existing Microcks database. And the second point is also to check how we could redesign all the things related to authentication stuff. So I think it encompasses the authentication controller in Microcks. They are not really existing at the moment. We are using Spring Security under the hood, but it's only for uh, checking the validity of JWT tokens, checking the building a user profile, a user context that is attached to the security context, retrieve roles, retrieve groups, and feed the security context with them. So we will probably have to extend the way we are using Spring Security to also integrate now the authentication endpoint and some authentication callback endpoint to be able to, let's say, dance the full OIDC authentication flow from the Microcks perspective. And I think this will also encompass all the UI stuff. So as of today, we are relying on kcloak.js on the front end so that we are able to, let's say, detect that a user is running unauthenticated, to forward it to the login screen, to have a periodical refresh of the authorization token, and so on and so forth. So I think this has to be things we will in the future move outside of Kcloak.js and use a standard library to do this on the UI side of Microcks. So this could be, yes, a tedious task, let's say. So we have to be careful. We have to do things step by step. And I think the 1.15 could be the first release where we try to, let's say, move things around without disrupting the user experience, of course, but preparing the ground to be able one day to to substitute Keycloak and to replace Keycloak on demand with the OIDC implementation of your choice. It's cool. Yes, and final item on my list is about the module structure of Microcks as it is today. Because let me show you, maybe you are a bit aware of the structure, but we don't have that much libraries and module. In fact, we have the model that is a dedicated module. We have some stuff around expression language, EL here, that is a dedicated module in Microcks. And we have also things around utilities, like utilities for much more dedicated to specs like Async API support, GraphQL, OpenAPI, SOAP. So basically, these are utilities for validating or building schemas on the fly, this kind of stuff here. So we have a root JSON schema validator file that can be extended here for different specificities of the JSON schema, different, let's say, dialect. And so we have this three commands module here, and we have a big one thing, let's say, monolith, that is the web app. And as of today, the web app is embedding many different concerns. So typically, this is where you will also find stuff like, for example, the importers, the classes and the utilities that are that are in charge of uh, importing, for example, an async API spec and building a full Microcks domain model from this API spec. And in fact, this this utility actually no dependencies to the web stuff, okay? And they can be, let's say, for sake of clarity, but also for sake of reusability, that can be put into their own module. And I think this is where it makes sense to start modularizing things because we also have now new projects that are reusing building blocks of Microcks outside of Microcks. And so for make their life easier regarding how they are using this, it will be also easier to remove and to have um, more modules with the finer granularity so that can be able to exactly pick and choose what they are importing into their application. There are also opportunity to move utils, so stuff like HTTP downloader, URI builder, this kind of stuff could also be removed from the REST, the web app module, for the sake of better clarity. So yeah, here again, big internal reworks. I think it will also imply some refactoring regarding the package structure because as of everything as of today, most of these classes that deserves to be moved are into the util package. And I think at some point, some of them deserve to be in a higher level package. So this will probably happen here during this refactoring. So that's it. That's a start regarding what we can put into the 1.15. So feel free to have a look at it, yeah, to comment on what you think is useful, what you think is not useful from your perspective, on what you'd like to see also in this release or maybe in next release. If people are coming with a lot of ideas, probably we won't be able to introduce everything in this 1.15, but it will it will represent, I would say, food for thoughts for the next release, 1.16, 1.17 as well. So please join the conversation and put your ideas in this issue. Remember, this is the number 2048. All right. And I think that's it regarding the project news. Oh no, got one important project news to share. I think this is this one. Yes. So this is an issue that is not on the Microcks uh, GitHub organization, but rather on the CNCF GitHub organization. Maybe you are aware, but I would say yes, for 1 year now. It has been opened on March 6th last year. We have entered the incubation application process at the CNCF. So with the goal to level up from a sandbox project to an incubation one. And the good news is that last week we we officially entered, let's say, the feedback period. So all the review, all the due diligence process, all the I would say the adopters, interviews, and so on have been realized this latest months, and we now officially in the public comment period until next week. And this means that after that, if no further feedback is provided, we will move to the vote for the TOC. I think the vote is also takes something like 2 weeks, but after this final 2 weeks, we will probably be able to move to the incubation level. So that's really cool. We were waiting for this for a long, long time, and we will be very happy to yes to announce this at the next KubeCon in North America and to celebrate this together with the community because this is a major step for the project. So if you want also to check this issue, please have a look at this issue numbered 1552 in the CNCF TOC repo. Give us a thumb up, give us a tada, give us a heart. Please give us your support. And I think this will allow us to move fast on the TOC vote and yes, finally be able to level up as an incubation project. So this is the second point I wanted to mention today. Everything has been done regarding the incubation level application process. Okay, and the latest news I wanted to share for this community meeting is about an event we attended and we talked to latest week, and it was the Spring I/O event in Barcelona. So just putting you the website here. So Spring I/O is one of the biggest developer conference in EMEA, fully dedicated to the Spring community and the Spring framework. And we had the opportunity with Maurizio Salatino to deliver together a full workshop about how to use modern practices to simplify your life when developing cloud native application, but also AI native applications. So this is a topic Mauricio and I are talking about for more than 1 year now. But this year we also changed things a bit to also demonstrate how your cloud native application that can be now AI native application or AI infused application can also use those modern techniques that are about mocking, contract testing, but also using observability, using unit testing, this kind of stuff, how those applications can benefit from them. So here we have set up let's say a new blueprint application about web selling, about placing an order, checking an inventory, asking achievement, but also integrating an LLM here to orchestrate the whole process, integrating some MCP servers that can be developed using Spring AI framework, typically, or MCP servers that can be also deployed and configured using this new project we are working on, Yasin and I, that is called Reshaper, and that basically allows you to ingest any API specification artifact and to provide MCP servers on the fly. So here, typically in this complex cloud native and AI native application about placing orders, we introduce a Spring developed warehouse MCP, but also a fully configured shipping MCP done with Reshaper. So basically You don't have to write a single line of code. It's just transforming, interpreting your OpenAPI file and your OpenAPI API on the fly just to translate it into an MCP server. Okay, so if so it was a 2 hours workshop with a lot of different steps, a lot of different exercise. So you can see that we started very simple, okay, but then it's been a little bit complex, introducing MCP server here, introducing MCP server there, introducing also event-driven architecture using Kafka messages and using Dapper, for example, using also cloud events under the hood. So if you're asking question about how to so articulate cloud events, async API, this kind of stuff, you'll find very interesting information in this workshop. And at the end, everything here was was using also Dapper durable workflows so that you will be able to have very predictable, durable workflows where even if your workflow is interrupted on the fly by let's say an outage or whatever, it can be retried, it can be replayed, and it could be fulfilled completely thanks to Dapper durable workflow. So, and at the end of the day, everything was deployed on the Kubernetes cluster. So, very comprehensive workshops. It is available on GitHub. Okay, so you have the full repository here with the different steps, with the different instructions, with the different goals, what you will learn in step one, what you will learn in step two, and so on, and with the different, let's say, exercise that can allows you to, yes, to better understand and better comprehend this ecosystem of modern development practice in cloud native and AI native applications. So really cool stuff. Yeah, for example, you can see that yes, thanks to Microcks, you also have the ability to, to cut the dependencies to the LLM, because at some point when you have some very deterministic features that you want to test, that you want to integrate into your automated test, maybe you don't want to lose time and lose tokens waiting for the LLM. So we also demonstrated how you can use Microcks to have this ability to, yes, to use canned response and to just replace the LLM by Microcks to be able to test and to check all the other deterministic stuff in your application. So feel free to check it out, to send us feedback. And yes, we've put a lot of time into building it, into yes, making it available. So yes, please use it and give us some feedback. We're really, really, really happy. And by the way, this is news I just had today. We will have a webinar with Mauricio. It will be, if I remember correctly, it will be on the 29th of May. We will have a full webinar to just give an overview of this application and try to put the focus on 2 or 3 specific points we find very useful when yes, when working with new Spring AI framework, for example, and how to integrate observability and microcks and mocking and contract testing in the whole mix. So if you want to, yeah, keep the date, May 29th, full webinar with Mauricio Salatino from Dash Zero on this topic of AI-infused testing and checking AI-infused application. And that's it. I think that's cool. And I would say that that's all I got for today community meetings. So unfortunately, I was alone today. was not joined by anybody, but yeah, feel free to reach out next time. Feel free to say hi, to join the Microcks community on Discord, to raise any issue, to participate, to contribute into providing your ideas and your wish list for the next Microcks 1.15. Remember, the issue is number 2048, and I would say that's it. Thanks a lot not for joining, but for watching the recording. And I hope to have you with me on stage online for the next time. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Cheers.